broadcasting to you from a little grass shack in the middle of the Pacific.
Live in the place to be.
Well, they're actually in the Bay Area.
Yeah,
but they are the premier Pacifica show that shines a spotlight on positive Pacific Islanders.
You listening to the sound.
Role models coming brown every Thursday night at 6.
East to west, we getting hurt.
Brought to you by Pacifica by Design. It's the iconic Faika Podcast with your hosts, Naki and Carl.
What's up, Naki?
Hey.
You ready?
Yep.
All right. Season 7, episode 35. What do we got? We got our check-ins. We're going to talk about New York. We're going to do a lot of talking about our time at Heva Pacifica in New York City, all the craziness that's New York. And we have a Stop the Hate 2 it's a Stop the Hate 2 campaign number 2 video that Naki put together, like mother, like daughter. She's a producer as well. And then we're going to, talk about the NFL standings and the mighty Pittsburgh Steelers and the other team from the Bay.
The mighty nothing.
And you watch your mouth. And we're going to talk about something that's near and dear to us children of the 80s and 90s. Tupac's murder in 1996 had a huge break on September 29th that we're going to talk about that. And we got our community announcements. That's our show today. Naki, what's up?
Hey, so we just got back from New York City. And we left last week. And then
on Thursday.
New York City. We left on Thursday. And then are we still talking about here? Hey, Phil. Phil is checking in on Facebook.
Alapati.
Alapati.
How you doing, Phil?
So we went to New York for Heva Pacifica, New York City, which was in Lincoln Center. Lincoln Center?
Yep, Lincoln Center. One Lincoln Center.
Yes, one Lincoln Center. And so that was my first time in New York. And so I had never been before, but I liked it. It's huge. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. It's like, to me, in my opinion, it's 10 times bigger than San Francisco. And maybe because I'm not familiar with New York or Manhattan, but where we stayed. But to me, it's huge.
It is literally 10 times bigger. The population of San Francisco is 800,000. The population of New York is 8 million. But here's what really blew my mind, because as we driving around, everything in Manhattan is like 30 stories or bigger. I mean, It's just gigantic. And I always think of San Francisco as being very densely populated. San Francisco is 47 square miles. It's got 800,000 people in 47 square miles. Manhattan is half of that. Manhattan is 23 square miles. So half the size of San Francisco and double the people, 1.6 million people. So as densely populated as New York is for all of our Bay Area listeners, Manhattan has twice the population and it's half the size.
Yeah, it feels like it too, with all the people on
and they drive wherever the hell they want to drive. The lanes are just a suggestion of where you might want to drive, where you might not want to drive.
Right.
I consider myself a pretty confident driver. I'm glad we didn't rent a car.
Yeah.
Because you got to be fearless to drive in New York.
Yeah. Shouting out some people that are checking in: Siona Vivao and Lily Noah Samia. Thank you for tuning in. So we were in New York for 4 days for the Heva Pacifica, New York City, and it was. Are we going to talk about the hotel?
Oh, we should talk about the hotel. Talk about it all, right?
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of different things about New York.
So Carl books our hotel.
I see where this is going.
Carl books our hotel because, in my opinion, he has been there before, but I just, because he travels a lot, like in his 9 to 5, he travels a lot. So I assume that he had traveled to New York City and knew where to choose a hotel. And so I was like, okay, I mean, he's never failed us before. But he's failed us this time.
Somebody was undefeated until this
Yes.
trip, and now that
Yes.
went. I have a loss.
Yeah. So we get to New York, we go to the hotel, and we get in front of the hotel, and I was like, there's no sign, or I don't know what.
We got out,
but
so we get out of the lift, which as we'll talk about the way people drive, but we get out of the lift and can't even tell that we're standing in front of our hotel.
Yeah.
It's like we see a deli and actually there was a place to eat. We ended up eating at that place, so we couldn't even tell it was a hotel.
Yeah. So we get in the hotel, they check us in, we go to our floor, and the hotel is the hallway is narrow, in my opinion, is narrow. And so then we're walking down the hallway towards our room, and there's I don't know what they call them now, but the maid is there's
Rooms, what do they call them?
I don't know, but she's
hospitality
person. There's a door open in the hallway, and she's bent over, and we're coming up on her, and I look to see what she's doing, and she's cleaning up what looks to be a public bathroom. So then my ears and eyes start going up, and then I'm like,
So
I know
I'll tell you what I saw.
this is not.
When we were walking down the hall, Naki's head went like this as she was, because I didn't see what she saw. Our room was directly at the end of the hall we were walking at, so I could see our room number in front of me. So I didn't really look on the peripheral, but I see Naki's head snap to the right, and I don't know what she saw, but as we're walking, she brings her head back, and her eyes are like big.
Yeah.
And I can tell something's wrong. I don't know what's wrong at this point,
Yeah.
but I can tell something's wrong.
So I see her cleaning the bathroom, and then in my head, I was like, I know this is not a public bathroom. So then the door, there's another door next to it, and it's open, and it's a shower. And then I was like, that don't look good. So then we get to our door, they open it up, and it literally looked like a prison cell. There was 2 bunk beds, and that was it. And I was like,
the only difference
What?
between this and a jail cell would be the jail cell has a toilet.
Yeah, at least
This
it has
one
its own
only
toilet.
has the double bunk beds, just like you would think a prison cell would have.
Yeah.
And it's got a little sink.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Yeah. Yes, Phil. So Phil is like, oh yeah, I'm checking out. So I see that it looks like it literally is the size of a prison cell. I don't know,
It might
but what
be
I
smaller,
see
'cause
in the
there's no toilet.
movies, what I see in the movies and comparing it, it looks like a prison cell. 2 bunk beds, like, when you go on a cruise, Phil, they're on the wall. Yeah. So then in my head, I'm like grinding my teeth, trying not to cry. And then I was like, then I have like a minute, I'm trying to, okay, you can do this. It's for 4 days. It didn't say hostel. It was called, no, that's Lily Noah is saying, did it say hotel or hostel? It said, I took a picture of the hotel when we left. It said Pod Hotel. So then I was like, I was trying not to cry. And then I was like, okay, you got to man up. This is only for 4 days. You can do it. In the meantime, I'm fighting back tears because I'm hella bougie now. And even if it had a bathroom, our own bathroom, I would have been okay. But then I was like, okay. And then in my head, I wanted to punch Carl in the throat. But I just sucked it up.
So
and I was like,
I did keep my distance in the cell room. I did stay as far away from Nancy as I could, because I could tell that violence was imminent. And I knew at this point, so right then, it takes about, men think a little bit slower, so Naki got it quicker than I did.
Yeah.
But I quickly got that this entire trip is going to be ruined unless we can change hotels. But I know Naki doesn't want to spend money on things that we're not going to use. So I know that she's going to want to stay. She's going to want to stay, even though it's going to ruin our trip. So in my mind, I'm thinking, I got to get this girl to a restaurant. I got to go calm her down.
Yes.
And so we both are like, we should go eat. And it was one of those unanimous, you think we should go eat? Yeah. We're both nodding our head. Let's get the hell out of the room.
Yes.
And go find some place to eat. So we could have went anywhere in Manhattan. We could have got another lift. We could have walked around the corner. How far did we go to eat?
We went right next door. There was something. But Tiana Tufono, who's on, says, I do my best to stick with chains. Hilton, Hyatt, Marriott when traveling. This way I know what to expect. Yeah, I know. I don't travel that much. He does. And so I left it up to him. But that's no more. No more.
Oh, I'm all for it. If it's been 6 years of making hotel arrangements and figuring out where we're going. I'm good if Naki want to make them.
Yeah, no. I'm just saying we're going to stick to Hyatt, Marriott. Like, I'm with you, Tiana. So
we ended up going to something that, we'll talk about where we ended up.
Yeah, so we go next door to go eat. And
so I got Naki into the closest restaurant possible.
And then it was like a, I don't know. It's a sports bar kind of place. Bar and grill. Yeah. And then I start slamming beers. I was like, I got to get over this. And so I start drinking.
3 deep, and we changed our hotel. So that didn't take it. When there was no beer going, we were not leaving. We were going to ruin our whole trip and stay at that place.
Right.
I think 2, I don't even think it was 3. I think 2 beers in.
I was already looking.
Naki was already shopping.
I couldn't take it, Tiana. I had to go. And so I just looked for anywhere other than that place. And I made sure that it had a bathroom and beds. And so then we ended up staying at.
So in my defense, I've traveled for 25 years, literally 25 years I've been on the road. Some years I was on the road 30 weeks.
Yeah.
There were years that I averaged 3 nights a week in a hotel.
Yeah.
All over the country. I've never had to worry about whether a hotel had a bathroom. I mean, I saw it. It was 200 something bucks a night.
But you always stay at Hilton's. Now
I do. Yeah. So lesson learned. I'm with our viewer that says stick with, and that's what I have. I've been a 10-year diamond member at Hilton.
Yes, so I love that.
I'm with you. Yeah.
So it was the first time, and I would have never. I don't know what a pod is. Like, it just said Pod 51 Hotel. Like, it said hotel, which we are fighting the charges because they misrepresented themselves. It's a hostel or whatever. It's not a hotel. So
we're gonna end up doing chores.
Those charges, those charges will get removed, trust me. So it was a nice, and then we checked into the Empire Hotel, and the Havo was at Lincoln Center, and I just picked a random hotel which happened to be across the street. Literally, we walked across the street.
You walk out of the hotel, you go left about 30 feet. You wait for the light, you cross over, you're at Lincoln Center.
Look at me. I didn't even know where we were. I killed it.
I, on the other hand, was so happy. Once a couple beers went down and she was already shopping around. I was like, oh, the trip is saved.
Yes. So it was good. We had a good time. We checked out immediately, and then went to the new hotel, which had a nice lobby, and then we actually ran into a Manuia Polynesia, who is based out of the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And I ran into Camille, who it is her group. She brought 4 girls to compete at Hava, New York City, which was awesome that I got to see somebody from the Bay Area.
We saw lots of people from California.
So then we go to the event, and we got to interview. I got to talk. We both did, to Tiana Leofau, who's with Nonosina, who's big time. Like, she's huge.
Somebody.
Yeah, she's big time, and she was a judge there at Hava, New York City, which was put on by Te Ao Mana, who did a great job. They were the sponsor.
Yeah, they were the sponsor.
They were the organizers.
And the city of New York, and the public library.
New York's public library. So that's basically the sponsors. But they did a really great job. Tiana.
One of the things that just doing all the community events here in the Bay Area, they're run by community, like our community, right?
Right.
So Naki and I get to
Get
Lincoln
there. We
Center.
know
We
everybody.
get off the elevator and we're like, okay, we can see people are dressed up. The dancers are walking
Right.
by, and the people like telling you where to go and checking
Right.
you in, non-PIs. And it was
Non-PIs.
completely alien to Naki and I. We're
Right.
like, how come the community's not the
Yeah.
ones welcome? So to all of the CBOs that we've been to, especially in the Bay Area, because we go to a lot of those,
Mhm.
having our people run it and greet us
Yeah.
and tell us where to go and where to sit and all those kind of things. I didn't realize how much that meant until
Yeah.
we were in New York.
In all fairness, those were a lot of volunteers
Yes,
that
absolutely.
helped tell
There was
Mana.
nothing wrong with it.
No,
but
no.
It was just different. It was a different vibe. It hits
Yeah.
different when it's not a Pacific
Yes,
Islander saying,
yes.
hey, auntie, uncle. how's it-"
Welcome. Yeah. So when we and then to get to an event where we know nobody, we don't know anyone. Usually in the Bay Area, we know, because we're from here, we know people will get there, we'll say, hey, how you doing? Hey. We knew nobody. Zero, zilch. And so other than Ashley, who I was talking to, corresponding via email before we got there, I didn't even know what she looked like. But the MC, which was Tiana Manu, who was Miss Hava San Diego of 2023. Hello, she's from California. She was the MC. She did an awesome job when it was time to stall. She really
out.
She did a great job.
Yeah, we found out that it was one of her first. I don't know if it was her first show or maybe it was her first or second. Like she's not like a
Yeah, it
a
was
long-term MC. She's new to it, right? You would never know unless somebody said,
yeah.
Hey, she's new to this. She did when they were they needed somebody to stall.
Mhm.
She was over talking to the drummers. She was asking people questions. She did a really good job.
Yeah, she did a great job
of keeping it a warm, friendly event where people
Yeah.
are laughing and having a good time.
So it was her third event third time emceeing an event this year. She did a really great job. Miss Hava San Diego 2023. She's from San Diego. Of course, my mom knows her because she's from San Diego. But she did a great job. Everyone that participated did a really, really good job. The drummers were from California. Hava Katoa was two of the drummers, and dang it, Ofa and Nick were from. Dang it, I'm gonna get it.
They were from what? So Ofa was from
Fres.
Oh, the group.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah. Dang it, I got it. But big shout out to Ofa and Nick,
and for being so. So here's how Naki and I get down at events. We just go in, we interview people, right? It doesn't matter whether it's in American Samoa at Flag Day or whether it's in Apia or whether it's in New York. We just get there, we grab the microphone, we jump in and swing the bat. So we do that the first day, and we find out the second day, there's not supposed to be any media here doing any interviews. We've already done interviews in there, and we're like, oh, so the last thing we want to do is cause you problems. We won't do any more interviews in here. And so the day before, we had seen the drummers come out. They were like half a block up, and they just were going to get out of the event. And I was like, hey, maybe we can catch the drummers back in that alley where they were yesterday. We walk out of the building because we don't want to do an interview in the building, and we don't get one of the drummers. We get all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And we asked to do interviews, and those guys were just, they were so warm and welcoming to that. They weren't comfortable doing the interviews, but hey, they just jumped in there, did a great job. Naki put that video together. It's on our social media.
Yeah, go check it out on our Instagram. And when Carl says we ask, he means you go ask. That means I got to go over there and go, hey, we're PBD. But then I shove him in front of the mic.
Yeah. And then I get 5 people to interview at once. And she goes, no, just interview them all. Ready, go. And I was like, interview.
I love that.
Every one of them.
Tiana, yes. It was like, I felt like a lot of people came from Southern California because Tiana Leofau came from Southern California, and she was a judge. And then the MC, Tiana Manu, who just got married, who was San Diego Hava 2023. And I have to say that because it's freaking awesome. She came from Southern California. And then the drummers all came from San Diego, Fresno, Modesto area. And then I feel like, and then the girl that won the first place for Vahine competition,
Mhm.
she's from Southern California, originally from Oakland. So I was like, well, damn, we could all did this in the Bay Area.
which we're talking about. We're talking about, working with some of the Tahitian dance organizers up here to do things like that, because we looked at that and we're like, man,
Yeah.
San Francisco should be doing something along those. Northern California.
Yes,
should be
it
doing
was
something like
was
that.
really good. It was really good. We got to talk to Ashley the second day, and they were just crazy busy.
You see your eyes question. You guys cross the street and yell, I'm walking here.
I'm walking here. Man, people are crazy. They'll cross the street even when the light is green. Like, I was kind of scared because we took Lyft everywhere, and I swear we were so close to hitting people.
There were times where I was waiting for the metal of the collision of the metal, and the drive's looking at the driver, and it was almost like flying an airplane. Like,
Yeah.
I watch the flight attendants. When they're not nervous, I'm not nervous. When
Yeah.
the flight attendants are running to buckle up, then I become
Right.
concerned. So I was looking at the driver. He never even looked in his mirror. He drove through, and I was like, he missed it by inches. And if you step out in a crosswalk, you're taking your life into your hands.
Right. So it was crazy, a crazy, amazing day. It was just a really good event put on by Te Ao Mana. They did a great job. Everybody was crazy. They were just busy and didn't really have a chance we got to talk to them and say hi, the coordinators, but didn't get a chance to interview them. And of course, we talked to the drummers. We talked to Tiana. We also talked to Tony, who was a Tane, who participated or competed, and he came from Mexico City. He spoke barely any English. Him and his group came from Mexico City, which is, to me, that's badass that they were competing in a Tahitian competition. So I thought that I interviewed him too. I just gotta edit the interview.
We thought we came a long way. They were like,
Right.
hold my beer.
Yes.
California,
Yeah.
Mexico City.
They came from Mexico City, and all the time they performed, their manager or their teacher or the owner was yelling,
sitting right next to
"Viva
me.
Mexico! Viva Mexico!" And we were like, okay.
At first it was a little like, what the heck? And then we realized their whole Heva came from Mexico City. Another team came from Canada.
Yeah.
Like they brought people from
around the world.
Around the world.
It was pretty badass. Yes.
Viva Mexico.
Viva Mexico. So yes, it was pretty badass that people from around the world. And I'm sure, they big shout out to them for coming all that way and competing. Like, to me, everybody won, because it takes a lot to get up in front of people that you don't know, like performers do, right? But this was it was really nice to see people in New York celebrating Pacifica culture. And so, big shout out to Te Ao Mana and their volunteers and the city of New York.
City of New York. And well, actually, and that's the crazy part about it. We only saw Manhattan.
Yeah, we only seen Manhattan.
It was,
which I was good with, because
we
didn't have enough time.
No,
yeah,
we barely had enough time to see what we saw.
We didn't have enough time, but we went sightseeing. We went to the Statue of Liberty, which now is my most favorite, I don't know, sightseeing place, just because I learned so much. And I don't know if I'm like dingy and didn't pay attention when they were talking about it in school, but I learned that the Statue of Liberty was made of copper. And our tour guide was so animated and so freaking amazing.
You couldn't help but be engaged in what she was talking about, because there were other people that weren't part of the tour,
right,
that were stopping to listen to her tell the story about this thing or that thing, and she knew everything.
She was very animated. She'd go like, when you see somebody standing like this, they're talking about the statue of, she talked about the whole time. And she was this short little Jewish, tiny little lady
with a
huge voice. So I love that she taught me so much.
She was yelling at us, come closer, come closer. I'm
yeah.
not Beyonce and I'm not Taylor Swift or whatever in her New York accent. She
Yeah.
was a kick in the pants, and she had, what do you have, 25 people in her
She had
group? or something?
25 people
There's
in her
25
group.
people in the group. There is a line of hundreds of people lined up to get on the boat. She gets us and is like,
And
walk like
cuts
New
us
Yorkers.
all the way through.
Walk like New
to
Yorkers.
barely
Come to me.
right.
And she just keeps walking backwards through the crowd.
Yeah.
And I'm like trying to not make eye contact with anybody. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I know people are going, what the hell?
They got
And
the
she
nerves.
snaked us all the way to the front of the
Right.
line. We got on the boat. At first she was like, I'm not sure if we'll get on the boat. We made it on the boat. Easy.
Yeah. So I'm just shouting out some people that are on right now. Pete Fiso is Christine Mawia with All My Usos.
Ooh, we're gonna talk about them.
Hey, we're definitely gonna talk about them during the community announcements. But so we go to the Statue of Liberty. I learned everything. I'm like in awe. Like before I was like, Statue of Liberty, yeah. But I learned so much on that tour that really choked me up. And so if you haven't been, you have to go. You have to do the tour. I wasn't a good student, so I learned a lot. Like I learned that the French artist, created that statue to give to the United States to celebrate the liberation of the slaves. Like I didn't know that. I just learned it there. And then I was like, oh my God, that's so badass. And then how they created, it's made out of copper, so it was really thin. And the engineer, the builder that was starting to try to, because it's in the middle of the island where they put it, and so when the wind hits it, the statue will sway if it's not like has a good foundation. So the guy that I'm going to be quick. So the guy that originally started to build the foundation, he had this plan in his head, and in the middle of the building the foundation, he died, and nobody had the plans because it was in his head. So then the next person that they find, this other person, what was his name?
Eiffel. Or Eiffel is what she said.
And Eiffel, the guy that Eiffel Tower, he created the foundation for the statue. Like, how, I didn't know that. I thought that was pretty cool. So,
here's what it's like taking a tour of
Evita,
New York.
Yes, go to New York
with Naki. Here's what it's like. What's that? What is that? Where'd that come from?
Yeah.
Who built that? Where'd that come from? Why is it like that? Why is the flag flying at half staff? I was like, I'm not a tour guide.
Yes.
I have no idea, but Naki got questions.
Yes. So I'm just going to shout out some more people that are on. Becky, hey girl. Evita, yes, go there. Put it on your bucket list. Arlia Falava and Ty Falava are checking in. Thank you for tuning in. So I love the Statue of Liberty. If you haven't done the tour, you got to go there. So after the Statue of Liberty, we go to Ellis Island, which is the biggest immigration
point.
What?
Biggest immigration point in the world. 12 million people went through there in a short period of time.
So we go there, we go to Ellis Island after that. And then we also did Central Park, we took a bike. This guy, we got on his, I don't know, carriage bike thing. And I was like, dude, are you okay? Can you carry me? He's like,
you did
get
ask
on.
That. It was electric. Like, he pedaled a little bit.
Was it electric?
Yeah, it was powered.
I didn't even know. I felt so sorry for him. I was like, okay, I'm going to get on. But he was like, no, you're fine. So in Central Park, you've got to do the tour. He showed us where a bunch of movies were. And then we went to whatever that bridge is. And there was, in the middle of the park was like this reggae group that was dancing and partying. They were actually
Congo
partying.
drums, the whole bit. And
it is a scene. I can't even, I don't have the words. Yeah,
we were there
I don't have the words to,
Didn't feel unsafe. There were people everywhere.
Right.
We stopped at this one place and we walked into this tunnel. And in the tunnel, there's a lady singing opera.
Yeah. And I posted on my Facebook, so go look. It's so beautiful.
Unbelievable. The acoustics. I don't know if it was because of where we were at, but I was like, are they playing something? Right. Is that like on a stereo? And then, because there was a group of people between us and the singer, we moved around to see the singer. She was amazing.
Yeah, she was pretty badass. So, and then one of my favorite parts of that thing, the tour of Central Park, was we went to John Lennon's memorial. It's called Strawberry Fields, and there was this it was a memorial for John Lennon, and it's across the street from his apartment where Yoko Ono still lives. So
Yeah,
So
she's
I
still
was like,
alive.
"Oh my God, she's still alive." She's like 80 something, and they're like, "Yeah, she's still alive, and she still lives in that apartment,
We-
where he got shot."
We
So
pull up, and the guy's like, so he's explaining, yeah, this is Strawberry Field. They actually named that part of the park, and the John Lennon Memorial seal thing is on the ground over there if you want to go take a look at it. So Naki and I just heard the story. We get out, we walk around, we go over. Naki's taking a picture of the memorial on the ground. And then what happened?
And then this lady walks over and she goes, "Oh, she has a little accent, right?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "Is this the
John
Lennon Memorial?" And we're like, "Yes, it is. It's called Strawberry Fields. This is Yoko." When we started acting like we New Yorkers and knew what we was talking about.
We heard that 30
We
seconds
had the
ago.
nerves, right? So it's a great time. And if you're into history and art, like the buildings are so beautiful. They're old. So I love art and old because I'm old, but I love the buildings, the structure. We drove past the Brooklyn Bridge. We like under it.
We drove under that, the Queensboro Bridge.
Right.
And so it really brings to light how young the country is and how young the West Coast is. Because if you see a building built in 1885 here, that's old.
Yeah.
New York established in 1625.
Right.
Like there's 300-400-year-old buildings and 300-400-year-old stuff over there.
Yeah.
That's, it
was crazy.
You begin to understand how young the West Coast is.
Yeah. So it was, we did a lot in a short amount of time. We went to Times Square the first night. We went to the 9/11 memorial thingy.
9/11 memorial.
And they have like this mall kind of thing and you go in and they had the Game of Thrones chair, like the Iron Throne. We got to sit in that. It's on my Facebook. Go check it out. Carl sat in it and I took his picture and then I sat in it and then we both sat in it.
So then she sits in it and I take a picture. I'm standing next to her, and these Asian people out in the crowd, they would start cheering, and they're like
and they
taking
started
pictures
taking
of
our
us.
picture, and I was like, "What the hell?"
She's not Targaryen.
Yeah, and then somebody asked, didn't they say, "Are you guys Hawaiian?"
Yeah.
Are you guys Hawaiian?
Are you Hawaiian? Sure.
Sure.
I
want
didn't
to
have
break
the
into
time
the whole.
we
were trying to hurry. So yes, we were Hawaiian. But
we're gonna end up with that anyway. Do you know where this is? Do you know where that? Okay, Hawaii.
And so I also did not see any PIs other than inside
None.
the Heva Pacifica.
Zero. Supposedly they all live there in Manhattan.
Yeah, but I met Johnny Valens, who he was like,
Naki's famous.
Do you have a talk show? And I go, "Oh, are you an artist?" Because he's pretty popular. He's pretty famous. And so he now what was I talking about?
Not seeing PIs.
Oh, not seeing PIs. So I tell him and I go, and I even talked to the drummers too. I said, I've been trapped, like I've only been there, like it's day 2. I didn't see any PIs in New York, even like from a distance or anything. But you know what I loved about it? It was so diverse.
So a true melting pot.
Yeah, it truly is a melting pot because there was
everyone had accents.
Everyone had an accent. People that I thought were white, they had an accent, like, and it sounded like different accents. Everybody.
Yeah, and even the guy, the rickshaw guy that took us through.
Yeah, he had.
He was from Algeria.
Yeah,
I mean, he was everybody. It was really diverse, and with the art, like there's museums everywhere, and you go into the museum, like the museum we went into, there was Native American stuff. There was, just that. It's just so much different culture there.
Becky says about the chair that we sat.
The Iron Throne.
Maybe they thought y'all were related to Drago. Yes, that's it. I should have said that. Man, we needed you, Becky.
They were literally clapping and taking pictures. I was like,
I know, it was so weird. They started taking pictures of us sitting in the chair, but I don't know why. It was just weird.
They're giving us the thumbs up.
Right.
Yeah, nice. Just get out of here.
Brown people in the chair. So yeah, I'd have to say there was no PIs there, but I loved every minute of it. I was happy to be home. They ain't nothing like the Bay, child.
It was a great visit, but it was good to be home.
Yeah, it's just different. It's just different. But so Johnny Valens that I met there, he said that there's a lot of PIs. Everyone is just spread out, not like the Bay Area where we're all clumped in areas and we see each other. So and even like Seattle, there's like I don't know. New York, I didn't see any other than the people that were in Hava, and the people that were in Hava were from California.
Yeah,
So
California,
there you
West
go.
Coast. But you got to think about, that what was the stat? The San Francisco
Yes.
47 square miles, Manhattan
Right.
23 square miles. There's so many people there.
It was
like you're not gonna you just randomly bump into people.
I wouldn't mind going there again, but for vacation, right? Like that gives me more days to.
I think we learned that
hit it.
you need a whole day if you're gonna do Statue of Liberty in Ellis Island.
That's a whole day.
Make that the day.
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
that's a
and
whole
not
day.
don't because we were like, when do we gonna catch the boat? We got to get back to something. Cat's Deli. Oh my gosh! So we're there, and one of my friends, Shell from Fort Bragg, shout out to Shell, sent me a message and was like, "Hey, you got to check out Cat's Deli," and we were like, because we had to get back to the evening event or something.
Yeah.
And so we were like, hey, I looked it up. It's on the way back to the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
So we just told the Lyft driver, hey, drop us off here. So we pull up, and as we're pulling up around the corner, there's a line that goes around the corner. And we're both, Naki and I are like,
yeah,
that's pretty suspicious. Is that the line ends at Cat's Deli and it's hours long.
Right.
So needless to say, we went somewhere else. We ate a really good sandwich.
Yes,
really good sandwich.
the deli was really good.
Yeah.
And I had good pizza there. We went to a pizza place.
Amore
They had
Pizza.
Amore Pizza. Shout out to Amore Pizza. So the food was good that we had, kind of, sort of, was okay.
The pizza was really good. The rest of the food was okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's good food. We just didn't find it.
We just didn't
But
find
we
it.
weren't there we were there for the Hava.
Right. So yeah, that was New York. My most favorite thing was the Statue of Liberty. Did you have anything that was stuck out for you?
I think the amount of diversity and the melting pot thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that last night we were just like, wow, this is truly
right.
a melting pot. And so in line with us or in our tour, there was a lady from London. She was there by herself just to see what
France. There was.
Oh, so here's something to think about. How slow were people on the tour? In our group, there was four groups, four people in the guided tour. The Samoans were there before the French people at every stop. So I was like, hey, people are late when we're actually here on time. And the little tour guide, she ain't playing. She said, be here at 20 after. We're leaving at 25 after for the boat. We got there at 20 after. We were the only ones there. One other person came. Then one other person came, and she goes, we're leaving in 1 minute. There's a group of 25.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, is she serious? And 1 minute later, we walked over to get on the boat.
Yeah.
So, the French people are actually... I don't know what French people time is, but it's actually slower than island people time.
Yeah. So it was a good trip. I love New York. But I'm a Bay Area girl. So, and then I got souvenirs. So I was trying to get souvenirs for, everybody, for my kids. And so I got a bunch of hats, but they just had to say New York. Like there was a lot of New York Jets, New York Giants. I ain't trying to buy that. So I'm no, I can't go home with any other team. So
I go, what about Islanders? Are they hockey fans? Doesn't matter. There's a hockey team in San Jose.
Sharks, the Sharks. So big shout out to New York and to Almana for a great event. Their first Hava Pacifica New York City was a huge success. Huge. So I think that so that's it. My Niners are 4-0. They're the big game on Sunday.
Who are they playing?
Oh shit.
Cowboys?
Oh, Dallas. They're playing Dallas. Whooping. I'm sorry, Dallas fans. You gonna be crying on Sunday. So the Niners are playing Dallas, the Sunday night game. What else? Who else? I think it's just the Niners are playing on Sunday. Thursday. Today a game is going on. The Bears are playing the Commanders. They're whooping them at halftime, 27-3.
Who's winning? Hopefully the Bears are winning.
The Bears are winning because celebrate Dick Butkus,
yeah.
legendary Bears linebacker, passed away, 80 years old. So
Good for the Bears.
Good for
Go
the
win
Bears.
one
Yeah,
for Butkus.
they're definitely going to win this. We say it now at halftime, 27-3. Pro Football Hall of Famer passed away at 80 years old, and according to the Bears team, they said he passed peacefully in his sleep. So huge love and prayers for his family and everybody. So we're going for Chicago today.
Go
the
Bears.
27-3 at halftime. So what is it? We're in first place, NFC West, with 4-0. You guys are tied.
Steelers
for
are in second place, 2-2. Got a little work to do. Got the worst offense in the league, so got to do something about that.
Not bad for 2-2. Not bad for 2-2.
That's because there's a defense there, but they're going to have to do something with the offense because that offense is not good.
And then Miami, who won last week 70-20, they got beat by. Was it? I don't know who they got beat by, but it was
Bills,
like 48
maybe?
to. Oh yeah, the Bills.
The Bills.
So they're
Tua didn't have a bad. He had a pick, but he didn't have a bad game.
Yeah, he had a good game. He's still kicking ass, but they're tied with Buffalo 3-1. So
look at Nagy being the ESPN.
I know. I'm just like,
out there.
Because I'm hoping this is our year. Like, this kid is going to take us to
at the beginning of the year. No injuries. The Niners are the best team in the league.
As long as there's no injuries, we are good to go.
With exception to the Steelers.
Yes, yeah. Dang, they're going to the toilet this year.
Going to the toilet bowl.
Going to the toilet bowl. We going to the Super Bowl. Y'all going to the toilet bowl.
Watch your mouth.
Yeah. So that was, that's where we're at. So Sunday, y'all Cowboy fans, and I have like my niece and my sister's kids are Cowboy fans. I don't know how that happened, but anyway, yesterday the first cohort for Pacifica and Focus shot out. Mena and Petey started their photography and videography class called Pacifica and Focus, and then tonight is their second night of the first cohort. I'm excited for them. They actually, so they're set for, it's a 15 kid class with PIs having priority. 35 kids when they went yesterday signed up for the class, and they had to do this. Sorry, you have to wait for the next cohort. And the first and second cohorts, the first cohort is photography and the second one is videography.
5-day
and
course,
so
right?
Those kids,
5-week class, I'm sorry.
Those kids get 10 weeks with Pacifica and Focus, and then the next group. And so I'm excited for them. I'm so proud of the work that they're doing. So Pacifica and Focus, check out all their work on our page. Follow PD and Mena.
Follow PD and Mena because it's two young people getting after what they want, doing what they love to do,
and they're passionate,
and sharing their passion with other people.
So I love that. So big shout out to them. So in the news this week,
we're doing Tupac.
Oh yeah, Tupac.
All right, so
Tupac Shakur.
Right around the time that we were probably headed to Times Square, I'm thinking it was September 29th. And it was, when I read it, I was like looking at the news thing going, what the heck? So Dwayne Keefe D. Davis was indicted by a grand jury and arrested for the murder of Tupac Shakur. For those of you that were in the music scene or listening to music or even around, even if you weren't a rap fan, the gangster rap or the late 80s, early 90s, mid 90s was, the music scene was huge. I mean, they would go to, the concerts were just events. Like everybody showed up at the concerts. They were at boxing matches, at boxing events. So Dwayne Keefe D. Davis been arrested. Interesting that it went through the grand jury. We can go through that if you want, but there's a angle to that means a lot, and I think that's how he ended up getting arrested. But so if you remember back in 96, those of us that are around, Tupac Shakur, headlines were huge. he was shot. I think he passed away 4 or 5 days later, but shot in Las Vegas. So a lot of the questions is like, why is it happening now? Why is it happening 27 years later? And the thing with Keefe D is Keefe D actually has been talking about being there or being responsible or witnessing or some way or another. He was in the car that the shots came from, that killed Tupac Shakur. So
But
in
he also blamed his nephew, who was killed in a
right, so his
gang-related
nephew,
shooting in '98.
kind of breaking this down a little bit. For those of you who are following it, I'm a huge true crime fan, so I've always been wondering, are they ever going to get anybody for Tupac or Biggie? If you remember, they were in Las Vegas that night. Everybody was in Las Vegas that night for the Mike Tyson fight. He fought Bruce Seldon. So in the casino after the fight, Death Row Records beat up some guy in the lobby, and it's on camera. You can see that Tupac and Suge Knight, I mean, you can see them. They're all dressed up, all geared up. They're stomping this kid out in the lobby of the hotel. That was Baby Lane. That was Keefe D's nephew. In the book that you can see on the screen, when I heard that, I knew Keefe D had always said he was involved. When he got arrested, I'm like, ooh, there's a book out there. So I went, got the book, read the book. It explains a lot of it, but basically after Baby Lane got stomped out, he hooked up with Keefe D, and they're like, let's go, we're going to go get Tupac and Suge Knight. They went and camped out at a club that they thought they're going to show up to, Club 662 in Vegas. They never showed up. So they were like, well, then, we'll get them another time. And they're heading out to go to their hotel to go party. And they see Tupac hanging out the window on Las Vegas Boulevard, screaming with fans and everything. So they turn around and they end up killing him. That's the story from Keefe D in the book. He claims, and so here's where I think Keefe D got mixed up. In 2009, he sat down with the U.S. attorney, and he had a proffer agreement. And a proffer agreement means you can talk about things in that interview that you won't get prosecuted for. That's what a proffer agreement is. So he talked about being there that night, being in the car, providing the gun for the two that were in the back, claiming he wasn't sure who shot from the back, but it was either Big Dre or Baby Lane. So he says that in 2009. I think Keefe D thought that meant immunity. So after 2009, he continues to talk about how he was there that night. He was in the car. He handed the gun over. It was Baby Lane or it was Big Dre. One of the two shot Tupac, shot Suge Knight. So I think that he thought he had immunity for that. He didn't have immunity. He only had immunity for the things he said that night with the police. So when he continues to talk about it, this book came out in 2019. I think that's why now they're able to go after him for things that he said in 2009 in the proffer agreement. I think he talked himself into this murder arrest. So there's a picture of Keefe D is in the middle. This is 1991. And Baby Lane, Orlando Anderson, is the tall kid on the far right in all white. But that's the story, according to Keefe D, that he told in the book. And he's told in several interviews that they went after him because of what happened in the lobby, and either Big Dre or Baby Lane in the back seat are the ones that shot. Now, there is another witness. There's only two witnesses still alive to that. Big Dre, Orlando, Baby Lane, all the people in that car are dead except for Keefe D. The other witness that's still alive is Suge Knight. And so they did an interview with Suge Knight and asked him if he was going to testify, and he's maintained that he's not going to testify, that he's not, doesn't matter if they call him, he's not saying what happened. So it seems they're just really just dug it all up. All the conspiracy theories are coming out. One thing that's interesting, so how he was arrested was through the grand jury. That's an investigative body, but it's a 300-page statement that came out of that grand jury. There are other people that are going to be swept up in this. And so the question is it going to be Sean Puffy Combs? Is he going to be one of the ones that are involved in that? Because a 300-page indictment that's usually not going to be something pointing towards just one person. But that's where that's at, and it's gonna unfold pretty quickly. And I think you said the same thing when you saw it. You're like, damn, that dude's old. He's 60.
Yeah, he's
But
60.
he was 27.
60 is not old.
I apologize to all the 50 and 60-year-olds. When I was 18, I said you were old. I apologize to everybody. 50, 60s, not old, but he's 60, but he was 27 when it happened.
Yeah.
So,
and he can't possibly still go by Keefy D, can he? At
he
60
still
years
goes
old?
by Keefy D. In the interviews, it's still Keefy D.
At 60 years old?
Keefy D.
Oh, okay.
Everybody's if Baby Lane was alive, he'd probably still be Baby Lane.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, so he got arrested, and then now we just have to find the killer for Biggie. Let's do that now. Let's concentrate on that. So,
well, we'll see if he gets convicted. But I mean, I think that if he would have said what he said under the proffer agreement in 2009 and never said another word, I don't think he'd be facing what he's facing.
Yeah.
I think he just likes to talk about it and keep his name in the news and sell books and do those kind of things. I think that's why he got arrested.
Yeah, I think you're right too. Too much talk. Thai Father Alva, someone's on the prison yard will probably pronounce that name differently.
I thought about that when I saw it.
You're right. Not Keefy, but you remove an E.
They might drop one of the E's.
Yeah, they might drop one of the E's.
The first E is silent.
Yeah, Mo just said it. Mo, you awful, Mo. Yeah, so you're so true, Ty. I'm sure that's gonna be his name now in prison. The
way they loop in Puffy Combs is he used to do security so Puffy called him and was like, hey, should we even come out and do the Bad Boy tour because of all the heat out there? And Keefy D said, just give me like 50 tickets per concert and I'll have 50 of the Southside Compton Crips there and you'll be good. So that's the thought is that Puffy has had somehow involved in that. But if you listen in the book, it's just basically, no, they got in a fight and trying to get him back for what happened in the lobby.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad they arrested somebody. Leah said Carl's top 3 crime podcast audiobooks.
That's Keefy D's book.
Yeah.
It's Keefy.
It's Keefy D, but us PIs will be saying something else. Well, that was a good that took only 27 years to solve, so good for them.
Yeah,
good for them. So we're gonna go to a community announcements. We love our community announcements.
We had talked about Sister Cree earlier. All My Usos will be facilitating Journey to Empowerment tomorrow night.
Meet us there.
Murder Mystery Dinner with All My Usos. It's a free family event at Le Mauta Community Space in Burlingame, California from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. All are welcome. We'll see you then. There is limited seats available at Le Mauta Community Space. There are limited butts that are going to go in seats, and the rest of them are going to be standing tomorrow. Yeah. 2 of those that won't be standing is going to be Naki and Carl, because we're getting there early to get our seats. We promise you there will be standing room only later. Get there early, get your seat.
Yes, get there early. Also, All My Usos blood drive is happening Saturday, the day after October 7th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at 2055 Sunnydale Avenue in San Francisco. That is the Samoan Community Development Center. Donate 1 hour of your time. It's not too late to register. Please go to All My Usos bio, click the link in their bio, and you can sign up.
Toke Moana's Anthony's Kitchen and Bloomhouse proudly present the South Pacific Food Fest. They invite the entire community to come out, support, and enjoy delicious eats from Pacifica-owned businesses. That is Saturday, October 7th from 5:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. at 2555 Pulgas Avenue in EPA, East Palo Alto.
There you go. Samoan Solutions 15th anniversary benefit celebration is happening October 28th at Le Malta Community Space. Join us for an evening of celebration to raise funds for Samoan Solutions. The evening will feature cocktail hour, silent auction, live fashion, traditional Samoan dances, and testimonials from our members and partners. For tickets, visit tinyurl.com/ / SS15TH.
The NHPI College Pathways invites all Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander high schoolers, Central Valley, Kern County, on Saturday, October 28th at 4 p.m. at CSU Bakersfield Student Housing East, 8501 Stockdale Avenue in Bakersfield, organized by Central Valley Pacific Islander Alliance. Register at URL.
Yep.
.at.ekdy9. Once again, because I messed that up. It is short URL.at.ekdy9.
There you go. October 17th, right?
Yep.
October 17th is SCDC's open house at 2055 Sunnydale Avenue in San Francisco. Join SCDC for their very first open house event and enjoy delicious food, raffle, and fun activities. They'll be presenting their youth programs and a variety of resources. Check out their Instagram page and register and sign up.
Fatasi's Youth Services and All My Usos present Hot Siva with Neo Ve'evea. It's happening this Saturday, October 7th at the Samoan Community Development Center at 2055 Sunnydale Avenue in San Francisco from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. It is a free family event. Register at Fatasi's IG page or scan the QR code on their flyer.
There you go. That is our community announcement.
There's our community announcements.
Yay. So I happened to go to, I said last week, the Appeal Adept Cessation Conference, and I spoke to Malcolm Allo, who is with Island Envy, and we had a discussion, and we'll talk about it after, about Stop the Hate and what it meant to him. And here is the interview.
Aloha, everybody. My name is Malcolm Allo, originally from Waianae, Oahu, now living in Las Vegas, Nevada. So as a young boy, I always looked up to my grandpa, who was a lifelong firefighter, retired as a firefighter, but he was also a smoker. And to the day he died from lung cancer, he always blamed it on the fires. And I'm sure that played a role on it, but I know it was because of the tobacco and the smoke. So because of him, it lit a passion for me to help people quit smoking, especially the people who look like us and who are like us and who have the same culture as us. So when I moved to Las Vegas, I knew we could do better for our community. So we started something called Island Envy. And what Island Envy's the goal is of Island Envy is to promote culture, promote health. The goal of Island Envy is to promote culture, embrace it, and incorporate health into it. Lots of times in our history, we fought hard for our language, we've fought hard for our dance, we have fought hard for our history, but we don't fight very hard for our health. So if we can prioritize health as a people, then we can live longer and healthier lives. And that's really the goal of Island Envy. So every year we host a youth summit where we have hundreds of keiki who live in Las Vegas, who don't have the chance to be immersed in the culture where I was lucky enough to come from. And we give them classes on language, dance, history, crafts, not only from Hawaii, but from Tonga and Samoa and Tahiti. And we give them a whole week's experience, but we also incorporate health aspects. So how to eat healthier, how to not vape, and how to take care of your heart, etc. So it's a holistic approach on how we can be healthier Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders so that we have long prosperity and a stronger community.
And during your time in this work, have you found any, like NHPI, Native Hawaiians specifically, any kind of like discrimination of any sort?
Yeah, I think as Native Hawaiian Pacific Islanders, as a brown people, we face discrimination often. You know, before I lived in Las Vegas, I went to college in Oregon, where I was more of a minority than I am here in Las Vegas. So oftentimes, you know, you don't get listened to very often. They think you're a lower education level, etc. So I do think discrimination happens. But the way we combat discrimination is that we just have to prove that we're worth it and we're valued, and we have to put our seat at the table. Even if sometimes we're not invited, we have to force ourselves and speak up and represent who we are, represent where we come from.
Thank you so much. And is there someone while you were growing up that was a role model to you that guided you besides your grandfather into this work and where you're at now?
Absolutely. So my biggest role model in my life and moving forward is my mom. And unfortunately, I have to say that my mom is also a tobacco user and she's been smoking for many, many years. So not only am I doing this work for my grandpa and in his memory, but I'm also trying to do it for my mom because I don't want what happened to my grandpa to happen to my mom and cut her life short. So I work tirelessly trying to get people to quit smoking because that's the leading cause of preventable death. And if I can do something for my mom after everything she's done for me in my whole life and save her life and give her extra years, then this work would be all worth it. So I encourage everyone in the Pacific Islander community to quit smoking. Awesome. If anyone wants to learn more about Island Envy or get a hold of me, I encourage anyone to visit Island Envy, ENVYLV.org. Island Envy, ENVYLV.org. Mahalo. Thank you.
That's Malcolm. He did a really great
He's
job.
really
in it.
well-spoken.
He's a great person. I got to hang out with him those 2 days, and his organization, go follow Island Envy on Instagram. And he talked about discrimination, and I loved his answer about when I asked him to stop the hate question. He was talking about how to really take the high road, and then also, I think a lot of times taking the high road, if someone has never had, like, what is it? You're the first islander that someone has come across. The first impression is huge. And so I love that he took the high road and, stayed calm and just try to, I don't know, make them seem like, or let them see that, okay, that I'm calm. I'm just gonna ignore you and show you that there's a higher road to. He's a lot better than me.
Well, and I think that it's easier to do when you feel highly of yourself,
Yeah.
right? There's a great interview with Deion Sanders out there where I think he's talking to the media and he's like, "What makes you think I hold your opinion of me higher than I hold my own opinion of me?"
And that also takes a lot of self-confidence,
Right.
right?
And that's how
Right.
your conviction and who you are
Yeah.
is very important. So I always, I'm always a proponent of like be strong yourself, because when you come up against those
Right.
kind of situations, if you don't really care about how
Right.
people see you or what their opinion is of you,
Right.
if they say, "Hey, wonderful job, you're a really great person," great, that feels really good, right?
Right.
Because it's in congruence with how you feel about yourself. But if you don't feel real good about yourself, if somebody comes up and says, "Hey, you're a bad person," or like, "Hey," it says something discriminative against you, and you don't feel really good about yourself, it might be easier to fall into that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to clobber the guy. Like, why, and do something or say something that maybe you shouldn't. So I think that idea of taking the high road makes a lot of sense, but you got to have a high opinion of yourself to begin with.
Yeah. And then how do we battle that? How do you, he took the high road. Like, if somebody says anything, like, how do you feel like somebody should have self-confidence in order to battle, or should you walk away? Or, like, if you have a temper, I feel like you should walk away. Like me,
Yeah.
I would walk. I need to walk away. I probably wouldn't, though.
Yeah, I think the point there is that if you don't have a really high opinion of yourself, and you should, like everybody,
Right.
like
Self-love.
everybody's got your right,
Self-love.
exactly. Self-love. If you have it, those things, it's real easy to take the high road.
Yeah.
Like it's easier to just to go, "What are you, stupid?" Like and I don't care what you think of me.
Right. Right.
But if you're questioning yourself and you don't have any self-grace, like if you mess up and you really
Yeah.
beat yourself up,
It might be different.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then they hit you at the moment that you're beating yourself up, and then you're like, "Damn, maybe I'm right."
Yeah. And there's
Um,
also resources, and
there
you
are.
can get help, and if you feel like you need any kind of support, or you want to report a hate crime, you can go to CAVS hate. So,
And I think those are, a lot of times if you if you talk it out, right? If
Right.
you talk to somebody, and that's what we do with a lot of our loved ones, right?
Right.
But do we do it in a healthy manner? I'm going to vent to my loved one, right?
Right.
Like, if I'm going to vent to Naki, am I going to make her feel like I'm pissed off at her?
Right.
Or am I going to, hey, I'm going to just going to vent about something that happened to me, or PBD,
Right.
this or that, or I'm at home, I'm going to tell Nicole something. I need to be careful and make sure that they understand I'm venting about something to you.
Right.
I'm not, keeping it, not saying anything, and then I don't know, you slam the door or something, and then you blow up about somebody slamming the door. It ain't really about the door.
Yeah.
It's because you are already, pissed off or sad. So I think finding somebody to talk to about it, and I think those are, that's, you talk about problems, that's the first step to fixing them.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think the first and first impressions of, and especially in our culture, Pacific Islanders, we people stereotype us, and I think that's the whole reason why we started PBD was
Mhm.
because we do get stereotyped as actors, which is freaking amazing, and
Rugby players,
and
professional
athletes, right?
wrestlers,
Yes, and which is pretty
security.
badass. It's badass, and but we also like to show our community in different aspects of life, like entrepreneurs and teachers
Community
and
activists.
yes, and in the medical field, and definitely community leaders like Dr. Patsy Tito,
Mhm.
and
Melissa Leylon.
Melissa Leylon, Arkansas Woman of the Year.
Love saying that.
And so I think that's another reason why we have decided to do this Stop the Hate campaign, is because we want to show different aspects, which we do every week, but also have um, uh, an answer
An
to,
answer in
yeah,
a way to respond to it. I think that one of my biggest
right,
things is like the victim mentality, right? I
right,
think that people think that, well, if I say something, then people are going to go, oh, you're trying to be the victim, right?
yeah,
Victim doesn't have to mean the victim mentality, and
yeah,
oh, poor me, but it can help other Pacific Islanders behind you, the
right.
generation that comes
That comes
behind you,
behind
right?
you,
So if Martin
exactly.
Luther King was a victim and he took the victim mentality, look what he did with it, right?
Yeah, he would
So
have never,
he
yeah,
and so but he didn't just take things like, I don't know, Rosa Parks is a good example. At some point, you need to stand up and you need to say things, but you got to do it in a healthy manner.
right.
I think that's the biggest
That's
thing
the
with
key, a
the
healthy
hate.
manner.
Yeah, you got to
Yes,
respond
yes,
in a healthy manner, and if you're
right,
not able to, go find the tools so
right.
that it doesn't eat you up.
Yeah, so I just wanna so just to let you know, this is supported in whole and in part by funding provided by the state of California, administered by the California State Library in partnership with the California Department of Social Services and the California Commission on Asian and Pacific Islander American Affairs as part of the Stop the Hate program. To report hate incidents or hate crime or get support, go to CA versus hate. So I love that. Thank you so much. And thank you, Malcolm, for jumping
Yeah,
in
definitely.
and participating. So Mo is in there screaming, Light the Night. So Light the Night is a walk that raises money to find a cause to cure leukemia and lymphoma. It's the Leukemia Lymphoma Society who does this walk every year in several cities. And this year, the walk that our family does is usually in San Jose. And we haven't done it in San Jose because Brother George now does a bike ride to, in memory of his son and in support of Richard, who is currently fighting and has beaten leukemia. And so we're walking for Jason, for Richard, and for lymphoma, which kicked ass a couple of years ago. And so we're walking, doing Light the Night, me and my kids, and are walking in Walnut Creek. We're not registering. I've already raised money in the beginning of the year. I raised $1,000. So thank you to everybody that donated. But we're just walking just in support of lymphoma, and that just a reminder that I kicked its ass. So there you go.
You're letting it know.
letting them know that I'm coming back every year to kick your ass. So there you go. So we're walking this Saturday. The event starts at 5, but the walk is at 7 p.m. So me and my family will be walking, and Carl is coming. And yeah, so if you can,
It's a
fine.
busy
If you
Saturday.
can't, yes.
We got a
We have
busy
so much
Saturday.
to do. We have the blood drive. There's the South Pacific food that Toki Moana and Anthony's Kitchen are putting on. There's Cisco is doing an event on Saturday. Like, there's so much good things happening in the Bay Area this weekend. Please make sure that you try to get where you can and support. And I always say shop Pacifica because I have my San Francisco 49er earrings that Flip It girl gifted to me. She's go to Instagram, check out Flip It Girl. She makes earrings, she flips furniture. And she made me these 49er earrings.
Those look amazing. So you know how great of an artist she is, so she can make that logo look good.
Oh, stop it. Yes, Sarah Wong King. So, hello, Sarah. Sarah has also been helping us in Purr. I love her.
Role model.
She is a major.
There's a role model.
Huge role model. So, but yeah, I think we covered everything. Did we cover everything?
Everything's covered.
Everything.
The dishes
is
are done, man.
Yes. So, towards the end of the month, I'll be headed to Maine. You'll be headed to Washington, D.C. We are some traveling fools.
We're all over the East Coast this year.
I love it, though. I love it. So please check out all the Pacifica events that are happening this weekend. We will see you Friday at Journey to Empowerment. All my Usos will be hosting the mystery murder dinner something. Get there early.
The fun. It's going to be. They're hosting the fun.
They're hosting fun at Lima Hotel on Friday tomorrow, which we will see you there. Get there early. There are no holding seats. This ain't bingo, like Chris said. So get there early. We had a great week. Thank you for tuning in. We will catch you next Thursday at 6 p.m. Come back to FICA with us.
Love y'all.